listed here. Should I start off?
If you don't mind, you could, but we don't necessarily have to. We got most of it in there.
Okay. Um, so if you'd like to receive information about the results of this hearing, please send an email to the email address listed on the hearing notice, which is urbanforestry@sfdpw.org. This hearing is being held to consider Pier 70 infrastructure deferrals and design exceptions to final map PID 9584 under Public Works jurisdiction. We intend to go through the items that will be shared on the screen. My job as a hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director, and he will make the final determinations. Once the Director's determinations are made, the department will notify you of them if you have provided your contact information. The hearing will proceed as follows. I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I will allow any member of the public or witness who wishes to speak or wants to speak to have that time to do so. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The clerk, Clinton Otwell, will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left. If you are a party to this proceeding, I will call on you to speak. If you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let me know before you speak. Then you'll have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you're a member of the public or witness who wants to speak, wait for me to call for public comments. Then use Zoom's raise your hand feature if you're on a computer to put yourself in the queue to speak. If you're dialing in on your phone, dial *9 to indicate you're raising your hand when it's your turn to speak, and I'll recognize you. If on your phone and you're muted, press *6 to unmute yourself. And if you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let me know before you speak. Then you will have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. And if I feel a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing for order number 204652. Public Works.
You'll need to unmute yourself and go ahead. Is it John? John, are you the one that's presenting? Is the member from Public Works who is going to be presenting, can you unmute your microphone?
Hi, this is John Kwong from Public Works.
There you go, John. We can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I believe it was Cahal that had established this hearing notice, and I believe initially I believe it was Cahal that would provide a presentation. In this case, let me confer. Hang on a second. Okay. Sorry about that. Mr. Hennessy, could you bring up the presentation material, please? I want to apologize for staff that I'm not as prepared as I should have been, but hearing officer to DC. This is a request from the Pier 70 development to defer certain infrastructure elements as part of their final map action. And staff is here to present the request specifically. As noted in the document as shown, there are 8 specific requests for deferment and exception. They are as listed: this sidewalks, trees, water laterals, bike corrals, shoring elements, PG&E connection, and telecommunication cabinets. What we'll be doing is presenting them one item at a time. For item number 1, as noted in this diagram shown, this is the existing improvement boundaries for the phase 1 improvement of Pier 70, bounded by 20th Street, 22nd Street, Louisiana, and Louisiana streets, and also Maryland and Maryland streets. Okay, this is the phase 1 improvements. The first exception is to request a deferment of construction of certain sidewalk areas within the phase 1 development. They consist of 4 specific locations. There is an existing building with an existing loading dock that protrudes into the public right-of-way. The request is to have that loading dock remain. A minor sidewalk encroachment will be issued for this proposed encroachment. The encroachment is part of a historical area, and hence, planning has requested that this element remain in place. The second element is a series of rolling gates that were constructed a short time ago that encroaches approximately 6 inches into the public right-of-way. Again, in this case, the request is for this facility to remain and a minor sidewalk encroachment issued to document this encroachment for the rolling gates. Exception number 3 is to delay the installation of street trees along 22nd Street. Currently, PG&E has an electrical duct bank that is under the sidewalk of 22nd Street, which is in conflict with the various tree wells that's being proposed. In discussion with PG&E, whereas PG&E do not want trees to be placed adjacent or near these duct banks, they are prepared to work with the developer in the city to install landscaping and ground cover of some form. Hence, the request is to defer the installation of these street trees until the development team who will be coming through, who will be developing the properties along this frontage, starts their design, in which case the deferral will fall upon this future development team, okay, to work with PG&E in the placement of new street trees. Item number 4, currently there are several vertical parcels within the development site that remains empty. There has not been they have not completed their evaluation on what is to be constructed on these parcels. Hence, they are requesting the deferral of water laterals for, to serve these parcels. Under the map, it is a requirement for the development team to install water laterals ahead of construction. However, because they do not have the design, the building design in place, the sizing of these water laterals cannot be identified and determined, and they are requesting a delay for the installation of these water laterals. As part of that delay, there will be conditions placed upon the vertical parcels to provide certain enhanced restoration, given that these are new streets. They would potentially include the replacement of the concrete base from joint to joint of where the excavation is impacted, and also future final paving of up to the property line of all affected lanes. Another exception are the placement of SFMTA bike corrals in the parking lane. Currently, because of ongoing vertical construction in certain parcels, the sidewalk area and such is needed for staging and other purposes. So a request is made to have these bike corrals, the placement of these bike corrals delayed until such point the vertical development is close to completion. In these kind of cases, a notice of special restriction will be placed upon the vertical parcels to ensure that they are obligated to work with the SFMTA in the placement and installation of the bike corrals. Finally, there is an existing building that is in construction, and there are shoring elements adjacent to the property line. And as such, the request is to not construct that last 1 foot of the sidewalk along the property line in order to ensure that when the time comes that the vertical developer, go in and remove the shoring elements along the property line. It is what will be required is this will be a deferment. In the future, upon the completion of the building, the vertical development team would go back and replace and install the sidewalk so it is right up against the property line. Currently, for the Pier 70 project, they have installed new PG&E gas lines, and what is being delayed is, as shown on the diagram, a final connection to the PG&E gas main. Okay, that is underground. This is currently above ground. Once the development team has coordinated and finalized the coordination of PG&E, they would go back, excavate, and install this final connection under the sidewalk, in the underground, and remove these above ground obstructions. Finally, as part of the joint trench design, the designer has established the design. However, they would need surface mounted facilities, cabinets in the sidewalk area to interconnect the various conduits and their facilities. Currently, they have an application with the Bureau of Street Use and Mapping for surface mounted facilities. A permit has not been approved at this point, and they are requesting a short delay because they need to acquire the approval to finalize said installation. Okay, as noted, these deferrals are identified in this list. They will be submitted to the hearing officer and the director of public works for final review and approval and/or modification as deemed necessary. The staff recommends that the hearing officer and the director of public works accept these deferral and exception requests so that the Pier 70 development team can continue to move forward toward the completion of the infrastructure for the phase 1 project. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other department members that plan to present on this or have any comments? No? Okay, I know we have members of the public here who wish to speak.
If you want to speak, just use the raise your hand feature and I will allow you to speak. If you have materials that you want to present or if you want to share your screen, I can allow you to do that as well. Just again, the raise your hand feature is in the bottom. There we have one. Catherine. Catherine, I will go ahead and speak, Catherine.
Great, thanks. This is Catherine Riley from Brookfield. We're the master developer for the Pier 70 project. Just wanted to say that I support the item and that I wanted to thank staff for all the work they've done on this presentation and the item. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Do we have anyone else waiting?
We do have a really small number, so I'll just, in case they don't have the opportunity or miss the opportunity, I'll call them out by name. We have Christine Mayer from the port, someone listed as DG, and then Nadia Hamadi. You are the attendees from the public. If you would like to make a comment about the development, now would be your time to raise your hand so we can allow you to speak.
Okay. Well, if there are no further comments and no one else from the city wants to comment on any of the items, my name is Adisi Naji, your hearing officer for today, and I'm going to go ahead and close this item.
And that would be gavel down. Thank you.
Gavel down. Thanks.